charged with vehicular homicide, accused of dragging a passenger who later died.
CBS 2's Valerie Castro spoke with the victim's daughter in Newark.
He was a good person. He did whatever he could for everybody. He made everybody laugh.
LaToya Jackson says her father, Kevin Thomas, was her best friend, and this is one of her favorite recent pictures of him. He died on January 6th, and the Essex County prosecutor claims this woman is to blame. 34-year-old Fayola Howard was behind the wheel of an NJ Transit bus on December 31st when prosecutors say Thomas was caught in the vehicle's door and dragged. His daughter says he was taking the bus home and had exited on Sanford Avenue near Mount Vernon Place in Newark when another passenger realized she had left something on board. Jackson says her father tried to help that woman but got stuck in the door. Prosecutors say despite the victim's pleas, Howard allegedly drove off and left the scene.
When he first got hurt, he just had 2 broken legs.
Thomas died a week later of medical complications. Tuesday, prosecutors arrested Howard as she tried to board a flight at Newark Airport and charged her with vehicular homicide and leaving the scene.
Devastating. It's heartbreaking. We just deal with it day by day, you know, because it's a tragic. Like, we can see if he passed from, like, natural causes, but, you know, this was a tragedy, and the way it happened was wrong.
Jackson says the loss of her father came as a shock.
I could confide in him about anything. Like, if I needed him, he always there, no matter what.
She says the family will gather together on Thursday and release balloons on what would have been Thomas's 56th birthday. NJ Transit officials say once they learned of the allegations against Fayola Howard, she was removed from service. She is due in court here later this week. In Newark, New Jersey, Valerie Castro, CBS 2 News.
A New Jersey bus driver accused of dragging a passenger who later died faced a judge this morning. Prosecutors say the driver ignored the passenger's screams for help. CBS New York's Jenna DeAngelis has more from Newark.
With her hands behind her back, a stoic 34-year-old Fayola Howard stood before a judge in handcuffs as her attorney entered a plea of not guilty to charges including vehicular homicide and leaving the scene of an accident resulting in death.
This is a rather horrific incident that took place.
Prosecutors say Howard, a bus driver more than 5 years, was behind the wheel of an NJ Transit bus on December 31st when 55-year-old Kevin Thomas was caught in the bus door and dragged. It started when Thomas and a friend on board the bus noticed another woman get off at a stop and leave behind a purse. They ran off the bus to return it. His friend got back on the bus, and when Thomas tried to go through its front door, prosecutors say Howard closed it and drove away with his arm trapped.
He's running full speed alongside this bus. As the bus turns right in front of him, he falls to the ground. He's run over by the back tires.
I guess no good deed goes unpunished. Passengers on the bus were yelling at you to stop the bus. Mr. Thomas was yelling for you to stop the bus. Yet, you did not stop the bus. And it's perplexing as to why you would not stop. But you didn't. You kept going.
Thomas died a week later. Prosecutors noted several failed attempts to reach Howard, resulting in her arrest last week at Newark Airport while she was boarding a plane to Trinidad. Her attorney says this trip was planned before the incident.
Fayola decided to travel not to relax, not to go on vacation, but to be with those closest to her so she could deal with what for her is a very upsetting and troubling event.
Yeah, she looks really upset and troubled about what she did. She really looks like she don't give a fuck. Like those whores that flip burgers at McDonald's. That's what she looks like. Or the cashiers at Walmart.
She just kept going. She heard the news screaming and yelling, "Stop the bus!" Everybody was telling her to stop the bus.
Woman, what is that on your head?
I just feel like she got what she deserved to be detained.
NJ Transit officials say once they learned about the allegations against Howard, she was removed from service. Howard has no prior criminal record. She's being held behind bars and is due back in court here on March 20th. In Newark, New Jersey, Jenna DeAngelis, CBSN, New York.
What's going on, guys? Another tragic episode of affirmative action at work. Before I get to the topic at hand, I first needed to alert you guys to the video that is now available in the link, which is in the description box. As well, it should also be available in the pinned post. Some of you may be aware of this case, which came to a tragic end a few days ago when death row inmate Nathaniel Woods was executed by tree lynching state of Alabama for a crime that he didn't commit. Essentially, he was legally murdered by the state of Alabama. Now, don't get me wrong. I have said time and time again that while I am only against the death penalty because I believe that there are innocent people who have been put to death, particularly innocent black men, and Nathaniel Woods happens to be one of them, I'm not going to shed a tear for someone who's executed if it is proven beyond a reasonable doubt that they were responsible for a heinous crime. There's some people who believe that pedophiles should be put to death. I would not condone it, but I'm not going to shed a tear, kind of like these thought bots when they meet their demise. I'm not going to say that they should be killed, but if they die, then it's just like, oh well, you shouldn't have been living a ratchet lifestyle. So I'm not going to shed a tear for someone who, has done things deserving of harsh punishment. However, for those of you who are not aware of Mr. Nathaniel's case, the problem with his case, which drew attention over the years from several celebrities, including Kim Kardashian, Martin Luther King III, and I believe T.I., is that Nathaniel Woods was convicted and sentenced to death by a judge after being ununanimously convicted, which is highly unusual for a capital murder case, in the deaths of 3 white police officers in Birmingham, Alabama in 2004. What was alleged was that he lured 3 police officers to a drug house where his crack-selling partner ambushed them with a high-powered rifle and killed them. The problem is even pointed out by the sister of one of the murder victims, is that Nathaniel Woods did not pull the trigger. And the investigators and the jurors and the judge who sentenced him to death knew this when they convicted and sentenced him to death. As a matter of fact, not only did Nathaniel Woods not kill these 3 white officers, he was actually detained in handcuffs and on the ground, on the floor of the crack house when the shooting began. But because he is a black man and he was accused of conspiracy to commit mass murder of police officers, he was sentenced to death. They tried to get the U.S. Supreme Court to get a stay of execution of his legalized murder, which they did. But then that temporary hold was very quickly lifted by the U.S. Supreme Court for some unknown reason. They usually never lift holds like that quickly, and he was executed a few days ago. Now his heartbroken family, they said that they're still going to try to clear his name even after his death, and they're appealing to Donald Trump to grant clemency to clear his name and overturn his conviction, even though it's too late because this guy is already dead. Now look, this guy was a known drug dealer, okay? And, being that he sold poison to his own kind, like Freddie Gray, I'm not going to shed a tear over him, but I do agree with people that he should not have been put to death for the murder of 3 police officers if he didn't pull the trigger. Even if he conspired with the other guy, he should have gotten life in prison. But there's a lot of contradictions in this, and I don't want to make this video about that, but there are a lot of contradictions in this case, and so I go in further detail in that in my hard-hitting video. Well, it's not really hard-hitting, it's actually politically correct. I had intended the video about him to be here on ScrewTube, but I changed my mind at the last moment and decided to go ahead and put it on FS Avenger and BitChute instead. So yeah, if you want to hear in further depth what I have to say on this tragic case, just click the link down in the description box as well as the pinned post, and we will go in depth involving this case about the legalized murder, as I call it, of Nathaniel Woods by the historically tree lynching state of Alabama. If I was somewhere else, I'd call it something else. Now, this is actually a story that I brought you guys via community post several days ago, actually, involving this thought hag who used a Newark City bus to drag a black man, a 55-year-old black man, to his death. And the irony in all of this was that this black man was killed while trying to help another black woman retrieve her things that she had left on the bus. I mean, to be indirectly killed because of you trying to help a black woman, and to be directly killed by another evil, just attitude having, probably man hating black female is just so, the irony on that is so thick you can almost choke to death on it. But we have seen an overabundance of cases in recent years of black men, both directly and indirectly, losing their lives by dealing with these hood whores and these thug thoughts. Now, if you saw in the intro, you noticed that I scrolled down into the comments, and some of the people were noticing the attitude, just the typical, thoughtbot attitude that this female has on her face, even though she's facing a reckless homicide charge for dragging this poor man to his death, even as according to several witnesses, passengers, and the man himself pleaded for her to stop the bus. She looked in court as she was in custody being arraigned on this charge. She looks like she just has that, when I saw her face, when I saw this bimbo's stupid face with that ridiculous purple, whatever the hell that ganglion looking thing is hanging off of her little narrow peanut head, I thought, this female reminds me of a lot of black females that I've seen in a lot of different customer service jobs. Whether you're talking about Walmart, McDonald's, hotel receptionist, glorified crossing guard at the airport, even security guard or police officer. For some reason, this liberal hysteria that has spawned this federal law called, equal opportunity employment or whatever. I believe the EEOC. Yeah. For some reason, it inspires these companies to hire the worst, literally the worst that society and mankind has to offer. A lot of these females, if you can even call them that, subject for a video we can't talk about here, they have chips on their shoulders. They have mental illness. I mean, you can see the hatred, the evil, the nonchalantness, the non-caring, that NB word attitude on this female's face that I talk about so frequently, that I refer to when I talk about why I hate getting service from these thug thoughts and these thought bots, which, it just causes it to completely escape me as to why these companies feel like it's okay to hire people who are the exact opposite of what a customer service representative should be. Customer service isn't just, a cashier or a salesperson, or one of those phone techs, in fucking Bombay, India, or whatever. Customer service is any field where an employee representing and working for a company is coming in direct contact with that company's customers and clients, and that includes these cities and their metro transportation, rail and bus lines. Why do they? I mean, you look at this girl. This is why I maximize this. You look at this female, this chip on your shoulder, typical attitude having, non-caring, NB with an attitude type of female thought, and you just wonder, how did she even make it past the interviewing process to get a job driving a city bus in a major city like Newark, New Jersey? How? How do females like this become prison guards? How do they become police officers? How do they become school bus drivers, school teachers, librarians? How do they get TSA agents? I mean, I can go on down the list. How do they get these jobs? People like this are literally, and I mean literally, better. I can't even say they're better heard. They are literally better heard. Well, I'll put it like this. They're better heard than seen. But they're really better invisible than seen or heard. Okay? People like this should only have jobs working in warehouses, working on assembly lines. Look, I understand that idiots and thoughts and, just the dregs of society, which a lot of these females are, I understand that they have to have work. They have to make a living too. Even like I said, when people finally let stupidity get to them and they snap off and they put somebody down and then they're on trial for murder. Look, the law makes it clear. Idiots have rights too. Okay? I understand idiots, female ghetto thoughts, they have to make a living too. They may have terrible attitudes, they may just be the turds of mankind with their personality, their flawed personality traits, but they have to make a living too. But the question is, why would you put somebody like this in a service job where they are providing customer service, and let alone put them on a bus where they are responsible for the lives and well-being of dozens of people? What if this female starts spazzing out? Look, put them in. I mean, I don't, as fucked up as it is, I wouldn't even mind an attitude having NB Thug Thought. And if for those of you who don't know what NB stands for, you ain't been watching my videos long enough. But I would even understand if they put one of these NBs, you know, as like mail service. Deliver my mail. Okay. 9 times out of 10, I'm not gonna be there to see that stupid attitude that you have on your face, looking at me like you want to bite my head off, or like you hate the fact that I exist, like you hate me because you have to work your job and service me. Okay? I'm not gonna be there when you deliver that mail. Okay? You're likely gonna throw it on my front porch or put it in my mailbox. Okay. I'm even okay with a thought like this being a mailman. Okay? Work in a warehouse. Work for UPS delivering packages. Work at the zoo with animals. No pun intended. I mean, work light industrial, assembly line. Work packaging, boxing goods. Stuff like, have her working in the back somewhere. If you're going to have her at in the restaurant, have these people in the kitchen. No, I take that back. Touching food. No, scratch that. No, scratch that from the record. Scratch that from the record. I'm sorry. The fact is, and another place where you see these thoughts, nursing homes. People like this, that look like this and act like this, have absolutely no business around feeble, old, fragile, frail, defenseless old people who cannot defend themselves. Why the hell do they give these thought bots, or what Tommy Sotomayor calls these ED209s or BT1000s, why do they give them jobs in nursing homes, for Christ's sake? Why? Why would you do that? And see, this is another reason why I don't take, society and all of these fancy titles and all of these, laws and policies and official statements and political correctness. This is why I don't take it seriously. Okay? Like, for example, everybody knows that Child Protective Services is a joke. Because if it wasn't, 90% of these thought bots, especially these teenage thought bots that have illegitimate children, would be childless. Because CPS would join forces with DCFS and they would run a nationwide raid along with the FBI on almost every inner city and remove these children from these abusive households of these single baby mamas, a lot of which only have these children so they can get a welfare check. Okay? This quality customer service, this, affirmative action, this equal opportunity employment. Okay? They don't give a damn about quality customer service. They don't give a damn about their customers. They don't give a damn about, whether or not you are actually getting what you pay for. They don't give a damn. Because if they gave a damn, they would actually vet these people that they employ. You know what I noticed? City jobs are given out to some of the worst human beings, for all intents and purposes, since this is ScrewTube. Some of the worst types of human beings on planet Earth. I mean, going back to what I originally said, what is the interview process where a person who looks and acts like this gets a city job paying good money and benefits, driving a bus? How do they get these jobs? How? Now another innocent black man is dead, and again, the irony in all of this is that this brother was trying to help another black woman retrieve her items. Now, I've heard 3 different stories about this. The first story I heard was that he was a disabled Gulf War veteran. Okay, that's what somebody was saying on Facebook. That he was a disabled Gulf War veteran that was trying to get on the bus, but he was taking a long time, and the ThugTHOT behind the wheel yelled out that she said either you're wasting my time or you're screwing up my time. And I guess what she meant by that was that him taking too long to get on the bus. She was messing up, her schedule to be at the next stop. So she drove off with his ass halfway in the door. The second story I heard was that he was with his girlfriend. She got on the bus. When he tried to board the bus, she closed the door on him and drove off with his hand stuck in the bus. The third story I heard was that the one that the news reported, which was that he had just got off the bus with another woman and another man. The woman turned around suddenly and exclaimed as the bus was about to drive off that she had left an item on the bus. He didn't know this woman directly, and so him, trying to play the hero, he goes to get back on the bus to try to, or stop the bus driver, keep the doors open so the woman can go back and retrieve her item. And this bimbo, she drives off, even though she hears the man yelling and trying to get on the bus, and part of his body gets stuck in the bus. People on the bus horrifyingly witness this, and they're yelling for her to stop, and she's just ignoring everybody, acting like she doesn't see this man with his hand stuck in the vestibule of the closed door, and she continues driving, even makes a turn, at which point the bus's wheels and weight roll over this man's legs and break his legs. And a few days later, while he's in the hospital, he dies of infection as a result of these broken legs and other injuries that he had. Okay? So, that's the tragedy. This dude, I don't want to call him a simp because I don't know him personally, but he died at the hands of a black female while trying to be what I guess he and a lot of men term as a gentleman by trying to help another black female. But again, I still have Negroes arguing with me to this day as to why I don't deal with any of these hoes. I guess some of y'all will never learn. What else can be said? Another brother lost to the game. Rest in peace. Talk to you later, guys.